what has been happening in terms of this latest breakdown, because that's what it is. It's always a breakdown to break through. My lovely friend Leah told me that saying, and I don't know where she got it from, but oh, it's so right. I think some people call them, a spiritual awakening or a crisis or whatever it is. What I found is they're inevitable for me because I have that appetite for growth. I have a fascination about life and the spirit of life and how we do things and why we do things and what we get to experience, and just this idea of aligning this spiritual essence of the energy of who we are with this physical expression of being human, and how I'm convinced there's just this kind of collective consciousness, and that we are all completely unique expressions of that consciousness, having our own little stories pan out, playing with life, doing our thing. And so for me, the breakdowns are a time when we're breaking away from old things, old patterns, old beliefs, old anything that on some level we've decided doesn't serve us anymore. And that's why things are orchestrated around us for our experiences to shift and change. And every time there's a breakdown, you're in this pit. And I used to fight the pit. Oh, I would tantrum and I would sulk and I would go on and I would cry. And I mean, I still do the crying, no problem with that at all. It's just there was this attitude of, oh, poor me, I'm in this place and I'm going to fight against it. And then I learned actually, if I leaned into it, kick my shoes off, I could get quite comfortable down here and just let it be. Just let it be and see what's down here, because inevitably there are nuggets in there, golden nuggets that you can take with you to the rest of your life, to the rest of your, whatever particular little chunk of life you're in at that time. And you can sprinkle these little bits of new wisdom, new revelation, new ideas into this life that you're having. And what's gone on, I suppose, can you in a nutshell something like this? Probably not. How can I explain that I fell in deep passionate love with my work, and how I've never not loved it, how it's never not served me and fed me and grown me and wowed me. It's been a privilege and honour, continues to be. And at the same time, because of some of the ways that I choose to go about living my life and some of the beliefs that would underpin my actions and my perspectives and my reactions, which essentially translate into the physical experience that we're all having. Because of that, it was also a way for me to slowly wilt away. And I knew that there was this deficit that was happening that I couldn't quite encompass. And I've spent years working through the balance of this, trying to work out how do I give everything I want to give to this because I've got so much passion for it, without ending up burnt out, without ending up giving out more of myself than there is to give, because I'm so excited by it, not because of any other reason. How can I do that? And I know over the years I've made progress, and it's been such a journey. And yeah, there's this place, you're here and you're trying to get there, and you can sort of sense this outcome where there's going to be this feeling place whereby you are in the balance and you're in the flow and you found your way and you're in a plateau. I've been in that gap between the two, playing and juggling and experimenting and exploring, and it's all been so helpful and fruitful and so meaningful and so good. And at the same time, I suppose it's a drip feed, and in the last few months it's really come to a head with me thinking it can't go on like this because I'm running out now, running out of any of the steam. So there was always this deficit, and I would just work harder. I would pour more in, and I would love what I was pouring in, and I would love the experience of that. And at the same time, I'm living this physical experience where, I've worked lots of hours this week and I've done lots of emails and I've done lots of helpful things for lots of people, and I haven't been able to create a method for that to bring about enough payment for me to actually pay my way with the bills, and it's drained the time to the point where nothing else is done that needs to be done in life to the standard that it needs to be done. So I knew that something was going to have to shift. There must be another way to model this. And I think once I decided this has to be different, there must be a way, I must have leveled up somehow, because everything started to accelerate. And everything I tried to do didn't really work. Everything was falling apart at a much quicker pace, and there was much less demand for the kind of work that I'm familiar with, that I'm secure with, that I'm comfortable with. And instead, there were lots of these episodes of just it being a bit of a void. And yeah, it's all a bit scary and all a bit weird, all a bit uncertain. But this part of me just knew this is going somewhere. Something's going on, because this isn't the usual thing where I just need to, apply some new strategies, put a few things in. That's the difference, I think, when you start to really tune into your feelings. And I see my feelings as being so indicative of which direction to go in. I think I'm a feeler, and us feelers are celebrated for being empaths and good listeners and all the things. But when we are in anxiety or in depression or in agitation or rage, it's inconvenient. It's tricky. It's not something that we want. It's not something that our loved ones want from us, and so we don't know how to deal with it. We don't recognise the use that these emotions have. And actually, when it gets so heavy and everything's falling away and falling apart, I thought, I'm so grateful in a way that I can feel that. Because if I can feel that, I can tune in, and eventually my body is going to give me the translation of the message it's trying to give me. And so, what are the stories that are underpinning my experience? What are the beliefs that are the foundation from which I've built this? Because so much of my life is going beautifully and exactly as I'd wanted to, and there's just this powerful underpinning that isn't quite right, and I can't seem to adjust and balance it in a right way. And I just want to be able to do what I love, and I want to be able to physically take care of myself and my family as well. And it feels like that should absolutely be possible. That's the crux. When you start to challenge that belief that you have about something, that's when you start to break down the energetic exterior, I think, and the new cracks of light start to come in, which pave the way to a new experience, to a new journey. And the process of that is, it can be painful, it can be difficult, it can be scary. It's full of all the fear and all the stuff that comes with that, because it's unfamiliar. But I'm familiar with also this process of a breakdown in order for the breakthrough to come. And I know deep down that this isn't about me charging more for clients. This isn't about me creating a passive, or a digital, virtual set of tools for people to buy, or content for people to use. It doesn't feel like I'm quite ready to do that yet, because every time I do it, it feels so heavy. It feels so hard. Not in a hard work kind of way. This feels like a body no. This feels like an instinctive no. You're barking up the wrong tree. Or there's something in the way of this being able to flow. And in my book, that always means there's some inner work to do. And without getting crazy heavy and just thinking, too in your head about these things. It's just, isn't it exciting that when you're aware that you're here and you're trying to get here, there's this gap between the two, and during that journey there's this potential for new shoots, the unfolding of the fruits of you, the flower in you, the parts of you that have been in the darkness. It's time to shine some light on them. It's time to figure some stuff out. It's time to shift away stuff that doesn't serve. It's time to heal other little bits of debris that have gathered along the way, and it's all perfect. None of it's wrong. None of us are broken. None of us aren't where we're supposed to be. It's so beautiful that we can see where we're not living the balance or the flow that we know is possible or that we know that we deserve, and how when you start to let that in as a concept, you open up this path to intuiting more about yourself, which equips you in a way and develops you in a way that you never would have had otherwise. These processes, whether it's infertility, whether it's going bankrupt, whether it's having cancer, or whether it's your career or your sense of self or your relationship or your long-term battle with a pattern that you're so sick of, the fight to try to be the weight you want to be, or the fight to try to be in the relationship that you want to be, whatever it is that's yours, there's this moment where there's an opportunity for the light to start to come in, and for you to get the little breadcrumb trail that says, if you come this way, you're going to figure out the puzzle. And why don't you enjoy the puzzle? Enjoy the process of the puzzle, rather than being scared to death until you get to an outcome that feels like a landing place that is safe. And so there's this richness in this gap, and there's a way to use your feelings to guide you, because I know that my heaviness, if I feel low, if I feel agitated, if I feel anxiety, it's always my body's way, my intelligence of saying, here's your intel, you're out of alignment at the moment with where you're trying to get to and the feeling place that you want to be in, and that's totally cool. That's not a problem. You're supposed to go in and out of alignment, but it's just to let you know that there's a course of action that you're thinking of taking or you're trying to take that isn't quite on the map. You're going on a detour. So for me, when I was trying to create all this new content and trying to push harder and trying to work to get more in terms of, I can still get some different clients and I can pull this back, even though another part of me was like, this can't be right, love, because you've been fully booked and then some for over a decade. This isn't going to just turn into nothing. This isn't going to dwindle away, and you shouldn't have to keep, or suddenly just have to work so hard just to get people to come and do the things with you that you've always done. It must be time for an upgrade, time for a change, time for a shift in some way. And so what is it that needs to be understood? And the first thing was recognizing that my intel was saying to me, this isn't a time to push. This isn't a time to force. This isn't a time to be pretending that you're inspired with energy to go and do all these things, because it isn't there. And if you're really honest with yourself, you just need to rest. You've never rested ever in your life. You've never really understood how to give yourself permission to just rest, because you've always got to be seen to be doing. You've always got to be being productive. And it's a funny one for me, because I think it's to do with being of service, showing that I am of value, because I'm going to race around and do all these things. There's definitely a pattern, and these patterns, they couldn't really show themselves to me until I was genuinely resting, not just pretending to rest by, yes, okay, I'll quieten down my diary and I'll sit and I'll do more at home and I'll sit and drink tea and I'll write my journal. Like, that's fine, but it's not fine if you're telling yourself, this is not really okay, this is not really okay, I hope this is over soon. What if you could absolutely milk this time? Like, actually, this is a wintering phase. This is a reflective phase. This is a soak your roots phase. Enjoy every second of it. Trust it. You know, whenever you can, get back into bed with a cup of tea. Get back into bed with your journal. Like, whenever you get that chance, obviously, take care of your responsibilities. But yeah, whenever you can, get quiet. Do what you want to do. Find your peace. And you're going to go on that inner journey that's going to let you know which bit next, which bit next, which bit next. And the emotions can guide you to that feeling place of, oh, here's the revelation. Here's the little thing that I need to understand about myself, or the story that I've told myself, or the belief that underpins a lot of my reactions and perspectives, just like we all have. It was just that I feel like I was ready, finally ready. And so it was as though the universe went, quick, she's ready, like, just everything has to turn upside down, or she'll just cling to the wreckage of the old pattern, and she's not going to grow into the version that she's pitched for. And I think that's what we all have. We all have a set of end emotional outcomes that we want to experience. And I know that I'm here for the best versions of them. I'm here for the best version of unconditional love, the best version of feeling a sense of purpose and a sense of belonging, the best, highest versions of joy and turning pain into purpose. Also aligning this piece of kit, which is this incredible body, with this energy and alignment and ambition, and putting the two together and allowing them to work in this amazing tandem, and knowing that I've got this emotional intelligence toolkit that can point me in the right direction. Whenever I'm slightly off, I'm going to get agitated, I'm going to get triggered, or, you know, it's therein lie the clues as to where to give yourself a bit of attention and a bit of love and a bit of time. And what massively came up for me was, I would love to feel like I'm capable, because I know I'm so capable in so many ways of lots of things, and I know that I trust myself emotionally and spiritually so much, and yet physically, practically, tangibly, not so much. I'm the first person to say, oh no, I won't be able to do that well, or, you know, I'm hopeless at that. Maybe not. Maybe that doesn't have to be true. Maybe I could find ways of being perfectly capable. And if I start to believe that, I'm going to start to attract experiences to myself where I get to play around with that, where I get to practice that. And that includes my work upscaling to a new model, so that surely it is possible that I get to do what I absolutely love to do, and what I'm most gifted doing, what would be of most use to others, and would also grow me and just delight me as it has in the past. But how about doing that and feeling like this is also creating me a sustainable, physical, tangible life? Because there is a proper income, and there is proper boundaries and proper balance, and there's time, and there's everything that I would love to yearn for and create for myself. I'm sure we're just all doing our own versions of this. So that's why the breakdown this time, although very uncomfortable, I know there's always a breakthrough. Always, always. And the best thing is learning the next layers of surrender and just cave. Just cave and let go and lean in. And it's not being passive. It's being in it and sitting with it and seeing what comes up, what comes out, and knowing that, isn't it amazing, these little inspired moments of, oh, I think I'll just go in that shop, or I'll just pick up this book, or something happens, and you just get this little inspired breadcrumb, and it takes you to the next, and it takes you to the next. And so that's the magic of life that I absolutely love. And that's my ramble for today.